On a bright Monday morning in Savannah, Georgia, Olivia Carter adjusted the brim of her vintage straw hat and straightened her navy blue blazer before stepping out of her compact, well-kept hybrid car. The upscale dealership loomed ahead, its glass facade reflecting the morning sun. Olivia had been admiring a particular luxury SUV for months, a symbol of quiet triumph after decades of dedication and perseverance. Today, she was finally ready to make it hers. As she stepped inside, the air-conditioned showroom felt icy, not because of the temperature, but because of the stairs. Conversations among the staff paused as curious eyes swept over her. Olivia was dressed simply but elegantly, her blazer tailored and her shoes polished, though her worn leather handbag hinted at years of use. Still, her warm brown skin and salt and pepper curls seemed to draw more scrutiny than her attire. A salesman with a slick haircut and an overly tight suit approached her. His name tag read Jason. He offered a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. "Good morning, ma'am," he said, his tone polite but perfunctory. "How can I help you today?" Olivia smiled back, her voice calm and confident. "Good morning. I'd like to take a closer look at the 2024 Lexus RX 500h. She gestured toward the sleek, pearl-white SUV on display in the center of the showroom. Jason's smile faltered for a fraction of a second before he recovered. "Ah, yes, the RX. That's quite a vehicle. Are you sure you're looking for something in that range?" His tone dripped with condescension as he gestured vaguely toward the lower-end models at the edge of the showroom floor. Olivia's expression didn't change. "I'm sure," she replied simply. Another salesman, a younger man named Eric, wandered over, clearly intrigued. He leaned toward Jason and muttered something under his breath, and they both chuckled. Olivia didn't miss the exchange, but she ignored it. Instead, she walked over to the Lexus and placed a hand on the hood, running her fingers over its pristine surface. "What's the price on this model?" she asked. Jason folded his arms, his smirk returning. "This one starts at $75,000, he said slowly, as if speaking to someone who might not grasp the magnitude of the number. Olivia nodded thoughtfully, taking in the details of the car. "Is this one fully loaded?" Jason shrugged. "Oh, it's got all the bells and whistles. But, we have some excellent pre-owned models as well. They're more approachable." Eric snickered, and another voice from across the room chimed in. "Maybe she's just here for a test drive. Gotta live the dream somehow." The laughter that followed was soft but sharp enough to pierce the calm Olivia maintained. Without another word, she thanked Jason and walked out of the dealership. Her heart pounded, not with anger, but with determination. She paused by her car, looking back at the gleaming building. Adjusting her hat, she got in and drove away, her mind already racing with plans. Olivia Carter wasn't just an ordinary woman in her mid-50s wearing a blazer and sensible shoes. Her story was one of quiet resilience and unyielding ambition. Born and raised in a small town near Charleston, South Carolina, she had grown up during a time when opportunities for Black women were scarce. Her parents, both school teachers, had instilled in her a deep sense of pride and a relentless work ethic. Olivia spent 30 years building her career in finance, climbing the ranks in an industry where she was often the only woman of color in the room. She didn't just manage money, she mastered it. Through meticulous planning and smart investments, Olivia had built a portfolio that allowed her to retire early. But retirement didn't mean idleness. She poured her energy into mentoring young women of color, helping them navigate careers and break the barriers she had faced herself. The SUV wasn't just a car to Olivia, it represented a milestone. A tangible reward for decades of discipline and sacrifice. But her visit to the dealership was a stark reminder of how the world still judged people based on appearances. That evening, Olivia sat at her dining table, a cup of green tea steaming beside her as she reviewed her financial records. She had seen the dealership's listing months ago while browsing investment opportunities. At the time, she dismissed it as uninteresting, but now it seemed almost poetic. With quiet resolve, she picked up the phone and called her financial advisor. The next morning, the dealership buzzed with its usual activity. Salespeople gathered near the coffee station, laughing and sharing stories about eccentric customers. Jason was in the middle of recounting yesterday's encounter. "I mean, did you see her? She probably doesn't even make that much in a year," he said, stirring his coffee. Eric grinned. You're nicer than me. I'd have told her to check out the used car lot down the street. The laughter that followed was loud and unrestrained, the kind that assumes the subject of the joke will never hear it. But Olivia wasn't the kind of person who let such moments pass unnoticed. Be wine noon. She was sitting in a conference room with the dealership's owner, finalizing the paperwork. By the end of the meeting, she held the keys to more than just a car. She owned the entire dealership. That afternoon, Olivia returned to the showroom. This time, she didn't linger by the cars. Instead, she headed straight for the manager's office. The general manager, a man named Richard, greeted her with a puzzled expression. Can I help you? He asked. Olivia smiled. Yes, I believe it's time to gather the staff. I have an announcement to make. Within minutes, the entire team was assembled in the showroom. Jason and Eric stood near the back, their earlier bravado replaced with curiosity. Olivia stepped forward, her posture commanding respect. Good afternoon, she began, her voice steady. My name is Olivia Carter, and as of this morning, I am the new owner of this dealership. The room fell silent. Jason's face turned pale, and Eric shifted uncomfortably. Richard's jaw dropped, but he quickly composed himself. Excuse me, he stammered. Olivia nodded. That's correct. The deal was finalized a few hours ago. I wanted to introduce myself and outline some changes we'll be making. She paused, letting her words sink in. Yesterday, I came in as a potential customer and was treated with a lack of professionalism and respect. That's going to change. Effective immediately, this dealership will operate with a new set of standards. Every customer who walks through these doors will be treated with dignity, regardless of their appearance. Jason's voice was barely a whisper. It was just a misunderstanding. Olivia's gaze landed on him, unwavering. It was an opportunity, she corrected, to show kindness and professionalism. And you missed it. But I believe in second chances, so consider this yours. Over the next few weeks, Olivia implemented sweeping changes. She introduced training programs on customer service and diversity, held workshops on unconscious bias, and started community outreach initiatives. Some employees resisted and eventually left, but those who stayed found themselves inspired by her leadership. Jason, humbled by the experience, began to transform. Olivia didn't single him out for punishment, but instead guided him with firm yet supportive feedback. He eventually became one of the dealership's top performers, known for his genuine rapport with customers. One day, a young woman in a faded hoodie and sneakers walked into the showroom, her wide eyes scanning the cars nervously. Jason approached her with a warm smile. Welcome, he said. How can I help you today? Olivia watched the interaction from her office, a quiet smile on her face. Moments like this made all the effort worthwhile.